Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the Higher Origins podcast. This is our first episode in 2026. I'm Daniel,
I'm Matthew.
and we're going to do some looking back at what happened in 2025 and look forward to what we're planning on doing in 2026. Last year was kind of crazy. An insane amount of stuff happened. We were actually just talking before the show, and we had to go look up a bunch of stuff. Like, we've forgotten half of everything that went on because it's just been a pretty busy year. Um, I think that the most important part has just generally been the large amount of people we've been able to start working with and bring on as users and start helping to move their product. Should we just like should we just like go through a list? Would that be crazy?
Yeah, do you want me to rattle them off? Do you want to rattle some off? How do you want to do this?
I'll do a few and then you can do some. So in no particular order, we have Mendo Mystic, who is our partner farm. So they've been here since the beginning. That's Matt's family farm, but they count. They're important. Lost Paradise, Marty Wana. We have an article about him. Great guy. We've been working on some stuff with him. Covelo Sungrown, Maui Bend Farms, our distribution partner. Taste Buds, Rise Farms, Ironside Gardens, Eel River Medicinals, or is that just Eel River? Okay. Eel River Medicinals, Perrin Family Farm, Perrin's great. Sunroots Farm, First Cut Farms. Why don't you do a few?
Soul Mendocino, Milagro Naturals, Hog Wild Farms, Bear River Farms. Tim, he's great. Met him a few times. Clear Conscious Farms over in Lake County. Gold Country Botanicals, Jerusalem Gold, Big Sun Farms, Seed 707, out in Laytonville. Trinity's Finest, Penthouse Farms, Farm Fiend, another, local friend. Steiff, and then Canna Mills. Those are all the like official kind of farm brands that have signed up on Higher Origins up until this point.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the headline of 2025 for Higher Origins is now there's so many brands involved that we can't really like some of them slip our minds now. Like a couple of those that were just listed, I was like, oh yeah, those people. It's kind of gone beyond the capacity for our brains to hold everything, which is a crazy sign of growth. And we're just glad that everybody is along for the ride. Um, yeah, and it's mainly the majority of small farms from the Northern California Emerald Triangle region. So
I think it's like 20 from Mendocino County alone. Like I actually have it up on it's on the brands page. We'll get to that. But yeah, 21 in Mendocino County, 3 in Nevada County, 2 in Lake County, 1 in Humboldt, and 1 in Trinity.
okay, yeah, I mean starting local, but it's still quite a
If
bit of.
if you're farms or retailers in those regions and you want to pump up the number for your county, feel free, sign up.
Absolutely, we'll get more into the benefits of that when we talk about this coming year. Well, I guess this year now, our plans for this year. Anyway, yeah, so that's fantastic. We've also gotten involved with a few retailers, which is good. Emerald Sasquatch up 101, kind of near Leggett, and a few others as well. We've been having some fantastic conversations with getting some product in there. Um, yeah. So, well, we have all these farms on now and brands that we're working with, but that's kind of pointless if people don't really know about it or aren't willing to see it. The good news is that we've had a crazy amount of traffic. Like, not only do we have farms and brands and businesses working with us, but our site is bringing in an insane amount of eyeballs to those brands and what they do. I think we had some crazy numbers for traffic this year, right?
Yeah, so in terms of like page views, we just barely crested, I think, by about 37,000 page views, a million total page views for 2025.
Wow.
A lot of that was largely pushed by our license search tool, because we actually like go through and do a little bit extra work, that the state search tool doesn't do, and it's also like a like a core part to like how Higher Origins functions, the marketplace, the verification aspect of it. So a lot of people seem to be, landing on those pages using, Higher Origins to see associated owners, and then, even check out our new like latest retail map view and all of that part of it.
Yeah, those are definitely really interactive features. Whenever I'm doing something related to that, I just find myself kind of just screwing around, clicking around, going, oh, huh, that's neat. So that's bringing a lot of attention to the industry at large, and people are also heading from there through other parts of the site. Um, and a lot of this is because we have excellent SEO. So if you don't know, SEO stands for search engine optimization. It's basically how visible your website or online presence is to search engines. Basically, the likelihood that if they search your name or your content, that you're going to end up at the top of Google or whatever your search engine is and be most likely to be clicked or interacted with. We are pretty consistently in the first page or top of the first page in pretty much anything related searching Higher Origins, and lots of categories for California cannabis.
That, and I think recently we've like averaged, according to our Google search, position 8 when searching DCC license search. So like we're even like ranking high amongst like .gov, websites. Not that they're great or anything, but
That's cool. That's awesome. Um, and not just the searches and stuff, but also some of the articles. I have to toot my own horn. I write the articles. This year I only did 8. I know in previous years I've done many more, but I'll try and pump those numbers up in 2026. But yeah, we had 8 articles go out this year. I think our most popular one was one we did. I think it was way back at the beginning of the year about about going around California trying to buy small farm brand outdoor cannabis from dispensaries and just seeing how successful we were. Went to 10 dispensaries, and I think about only half of them were able to actually give me outdoor when I asked for it. Um, the main takeaway of the article is that most dispensaries don't really know anything about outdoor. Most bud tenders don't really know where the weed came from. And if you're really trying to get something that fits that category, you may have serious difficulties doing that, especially at some of the more corporate locations. So that article, people seem to like it. We had like 3,000 plus people read it. Um, and yeah, so we've just been getting a lot of eyeballs on that. And we also just recently, just a month or two, published an article about Emerald Sasquatch, a great little dispensary. And that article already, about 500 people have read that. So like, it just goes to show, if you join Higher Origins and want to get an interview that talks about you, your brand, your farm, your story, talk to us. We'll do it for free. We'll put an article about you, a good interview online. You can share it, and it'll stay up there, and it will get you clicks. It will get you attention. This does work.
yeah. So in terms of article views, in 2025, we did a little over 10,000.
There we go. That's 10,000 people who are more informed, and that's what we're here for. But it's not just the website. It's all the stuff under the hood. So I'm just going to kind of let you go nuts and talk about whatever features you built this year, because they're all awesome, and we basically touched every single part of the site and the app in some way this year.
Yeah. In terms of features that have added, just to go through like the quick list, I went through and redid the order system. Redid like menus completely, which menus allow you as a farm to kind of put together your own like private curated menu that then you can send out to retailers. And the whole idea is just as an easy way to go and collect orders online. You don't necessarily have to be like fighting for any attention on these, and it kind of allows like a more personal like sales process if you're at that stage. Went through, refreshed the marketplace, I believe twice. So in the beginning of the year, went through when I redid the order system, I had to do a bunch of stuff to the marketplace under the hood. And then I had a recent one towards the end of the year where I went through, updated the product cards, updated the actual product details of that, made it line up a little bit more what is visible publicly, and just kind of overall working on making sure that that works, looks good, all that. Then kind of got into more of like the fun realm of features where I went through, did the associated owner's graph view. So when you search up a license, scroll down, you have a little button that says graph. That will actually show all of the owners, which I think the owners are the blue nodes, and then the licenses are color coded. So you can like go search Glass House and then easily see like, okay, here's you can see all the inactive licenses and pretty much where like they've consolidated into larger 40,000 square foot licenses, and you can you can see that process. It's just a visualization for licenses. And then at the very, very end of the year was working on, I went through, added in maps, because I think as Higher Origins matures and we're kind of figuring out what areas of the market that we want to occupy and the things like our scope that we want to focus on, that's becoming more retailer consumer focused. We have to build out all the features that enable consumers to actually find the farm, so that then we can go to the retailers and say, hey, there's actually an audience for small farm, for craft, for organic, for you name it.
Yeah, we have to build out the demand side. We have the supply side with all these wonderful farms. We have to sell to people. We have to make that work as well as possible. So yeah, demand versus supply side development.
Well, and it also allows us to more accurately gauge, because I do have the interaction system built in, so we can collect the page views and how people are interacting with the products, and that ties into like the greater idea of having QR codes that allow for like a more direct review system and interaction, so that we can kind of we can capture just more how people are using it, what people are looking for at what times, what regions are going really well, and how can we promote that in order to like move more sales amongst like all of us, because at the end of the day it's like we need to make money.
Yeah, I've said this before, but one of the main development goals with Higher Origins is it's not just having a seller like a farm or a brand approach a retailer or a distro and say, hey, here's weed that you can buy from me and you can look at my menu on Higher Origins. It's not just a pathway to a sale. It's a pathway to a sale plus the extra infrastructure. There's value add at the retail side, value add for the person who buys from Higher Origins in addition to getting weed. So that's kind of just something we tried to see. Like, you're buying weed with features. So that's been our approach.
Well, yeah, and then like there's a lot of ways that like as Higher Origins you can kind of standardize the experience for consumers, so that then you can force industry-wide a more transparent system. Since as some of our articles have listed out, it's sometimes a toss-up whether you're actually going to get what's on the jar or not, because you're able to hide and obscure all of the different aspects of this industry if you really wanted to, and large brands absolutely know that. So that's part of like why I worked on license search so much towards the end, because as we get closer to like the whole idea of having to consider sales as Higher Origins, it's like, okay, what tools are we going to need in order to actually like effectively target and onboard or whatever to these various licenses and industry stakeholders that we have.
Yeah, actually, you kind of just gave me an idea. So you were mentioning like that it's possible for a lot of obfuscation and running an incredibly opaque operation in California cannabis, which we know. It would be an interesting article to write where it would basically be like how to run the most how to run the least transparent weed operation in California, and just publish that to just kind of demonstrate and kind of point a finger at the ridiculousness of what you can actually get away with legally here. You know, run it through this kind of distro. Don't put your name on anything. Use shell companies, like package everything at the last minute and ship it out at the last minute. Leave it in a distro that might have closed. Like
I
all
mean,
of
we
these
don't want to give
shitty
too
things
many
you can get
people
away with.
ideas.
Well, the point is that it just throws it at the wall and says, "Look, this is the reality of the situation." You know, it's really just, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, it sucks to see, but that's what's literally being done. And if the state gets angry about it, well, then that's their fault. We're just showing people that this thing exists. That may not be a good article idea. I just thought it was kind of
I mean,
funny.
if there's a time to press, I mean, especially like the policy side of the DCC, I think it's now, just due to the fact that they just swore in the new, the like head of DCC. I
Oh yeah,
forget his
yeah,
name.
Clint. Yeah, the new guy.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't want to be nice to him off the bat. You want to actually like make him sweat a little bit, I think, and
Well, yeah, just highlight to him how things are really happening. He might not know. If I remember, he spent most of his time doing finance stuff, so he might be new to this, and we'll see. Yeah, I'll put a pin in that idea. Back, kind of on track here. Um, we did a lot of like going places and doing stuff in 2025. I think one of our highlights was reggae. Uh, we went to Reggae on the River, this really famous historical reggae festival in Northern California, up on the Humboldt-Mendocino County line. I know, Matt, it's pretty kind of special to you.
I mean, yeah, I've been going to Ray since I was like 2 months old. So I think like 2 months to 2014, and then last year was our first year back since, or my first year. My parents have gone, I think, one or two of the other years, but my dad's been going since I want to say it was one the first radio on the river back in the '80s. So
Yeah, so we went there and we helped Mendo Mystic sell sell your products. And as part of that, we just got to do an insane amount of networking, talk to people about higher origins, and just kind of get out there and feel out like what it's like being on the sales side of the counter, like talking to consumers, talking to the talking to the people operating the festival, just seeing how it all worked. And I think that was really valuable, and it was also just a ton of fun. The festival was fantastic, and we're excited to do that this coming year. Be cool if we can get involved. No idea, but we're just trying to. Yeah, we like reggae, and we want more weed stuff to happen there. So when that rolls around, we'll let you know.
yeah, and I think we have a lot of good ideas. I think in terms of how we would actually operate the space and how it can actually like turn into something that might be beneficial for farms as kind of just another local event that they can attend and bring more awareness to themselves and like a
Yeah,
greater network of people, because a lot of the times you get people that are from LA or San Francisco that are connected to you know people are just connected to people, and you smoke weed. It's kind of it's a small community when you really think about it.
yeah, and I mean, you also have done a lot of. I know we talked about this in previous episodes, but you did a lot of in-store, like small farm, like featured farmer days, like little farmers markets at some retailers as well. And you said
Yeah,
that those go
they
quite well.
are. We attended quite a bit. I did it alongside with my mom. The Bohemian Chemist in Philo, a small little retailer, but I will say whenever they bring in farmers, they do like a little 20% off, and they get that recognition and they do the promotion to their customer base. Suddenly you get people that will, make a special trip for that Sunday of the month to come out and to go talk to some of the farms that they enjoy and, buy their ounce or whatever. And
Yeah.
like I see more sales for our product on like a it's wild. And if you look up Philo, it's just like a little you blink twice and you're swung past it. So
Yeah, very small
the
town,
fact,
kind of off the beaten track.
but those are great. You know, it gets farms out, and if you structure it right, I think that there's a lot of opportunities for both retailers and farms to actually create a system where everyone benefits. You know, the farm gets to talk to consumers, and they get to either educate your customers into buying certain products or doing certain things because they're able to kind of add the extra twist, um, or they get humbled and they learn the hard lessons of sometimes working with customers and playing the big game of telephone and always like growing a season behind what's trending, and it's tough sometimes. So getting directly to the customers, you can actually start to like get a better idea for yourself how the market works, so that then you like can go back to the farm and actually like right size production and realize like, hey, let's not put resources into growing this many pounds if we definitely know we're not going to sell that many pounds. And you're able to actually like work the numbers a little bit better, so you're actually operating maybe break even.
It's great feedback for the farmer, definitely. And yeah, you also Mendo Mystic was involved in the 12 Jays of Christmas project, which
Yes.
seemed to be a pretty big success. I've seen there lots of social media stuff about that. So it's basically a collaborative group project by 12 farms in collaboration with, was it the Humboldt Growers Alliance, I believe?
Yes. So they put on the project through, I believe, also it's called Emerald Triangle Craft. But 12 farms all got together, three from Mendo, three from Trinity, the rest were from Humboldt. Um, yeah, it got put together. Shockingly, 12 farms all collaborated together, and people got the product. People seem to be happy with the experience. So, it seems like it'll go on for a third year.
Yeah, and I mean, I know it led to some more in-person events. Y'all went all the way down to L.A. to some Hollywood dispensaries for it. I remember.
Yeah, so the 12 J's was actually like they did a little private party at the Woods. Woody Harrelson showed up. Everyone had their like little moment. They're just because they have if you've ever been to the Woods, they have this nice lounge space, and they now have added, I believe, like a cafe style that's like right next door to it. So it's kind of it's one of your like bougier dispensaries.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram video of Woody Harrelson being clearly way too stoned trying to give a nice little speech, and he was basically just like, "Oh, hello, everyone." He's a goofy guy. We love him. But yeah, that's cool, and it really shows like there are opportunities for these kinds of collaborative projects from different brands working together to really like curate a selection, whether that's 12 joints or it could be 4/8 or whatever, a bunch of different little samples of like concentrates. Like there are people out there who want these kind of like gift box type products. They do sell. They are kind of niche, kind of expensive. The process of getting all of the product together and manufactured and labeled and packaged and shipped and managed in the inventory of the retailer, like it's definitely a process. It's an undertaking, but like seeing 12 J's has kind of given us a lot of inspiration for like things like, hey, if we have multiple farms on High Origins and they want to collaborate, like that's something that we'd love to help them facilitate. But yeah, it's just cool to see that going on. Um, yeah, and I guess the last thing I just wanted to mention from 2025 was we went to a bunch of retailers. I mean, I did went to a bunch for writing articles. You went to a bunch for selling for your farm and for other farms. We went to probably 40 or 50 around the North State just on one whole like weekend road trip. Just like to feel it out and kind of dial in our sales pitches. Um, like retail is important, so we just got out there. I don't know if there was any observations you made during those million and one dispensary visits.
You know, not really. I mean, I think like retail, especially at this point, it's kind of like they're yeah, not to like generalize, but they all kind of become a generalization, and you have like a few standouts, like one that
It
we
is a
went to
standardized business
recently.
these days, more or less.
Yeah, and you're largely talking to someone until you get personal with them. That's just like, okay, sales number, nose in jar. You know, they like certain smells, they don't like other smells, and then you're just kind of like playing the game of like, well, maybe they like it.
Yeah. Some places just it's just the classic problem of any kind of business is trying to get to a decision maker. I mean, you can walk in there and we've got our pitch pretty much dialed in. We're two friendly guys, and they some guy will be like, "Okay, yeah, I'll give your number to somebody." And then it's like, "All right, like the customer the I think that a lot of dispensaries are missing out on good product because the people who are selling it come into the store and the bud tenders are not they have no like SOP for like setting up a connection, setting up a, passing the information along. Like it just feels like there's a missed opportunity. Like people want to sell you weed and it might be good, but like the buyer never even hears about it because the bud tender doesn't know what to do with that business card or doesn't there's no carry it. There's not a you can't get a Calendly link. Like it just seems like a missed opportunity to me, and it's a major obstacle for progress for, I mean, people like us, obviously, but other small farms who are doing this independent of Higher Origins.
No, and but I do think to like a certain degree though that as Higher Origins grows and we're able to rattle off a list like we did in the beginning of 50, 100, 200 farms and really say like support your local farms because like realistically like when you look at small farms and especially in the North State region like a lot of them are legacy, they're second, third generation. They've gone through hell and back. I mean, to just even be licensed at this point and like surviving. A lot of the farms that I know are like working a second job, and
Oh,
so like
absolutely.
retailers need to support those who have supported the community for the last 50, 100 years, and it's like we're kind of getting to that point where we should be able to go into a retailer and say like, hey, support us, here's my product, and actually like match make and just even locally support a lot of the farms that are kind of being left high and dry right now.
Yeah, and I mean, like, we can just put the cards on the table. Our plan, what we're doing with Higher Origins, is to get, tens, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 small farms on a platform with everything on a marketplace, walk into a retailer, talk to their decision maker, and basically say, hey, look, we have all this product. What do you guys specialize in? They're like, oh, well, we want some cakes in like the $20 to $35 range for an eighth. They're like, all right, cool. We have 4 small farms that do that. We notice that you have this whole stack of random stizzy crap or some junk from Glass House or some junk from some macro brand on your shelf. We can beat the quality with a small farm, and you can do it through a good, stable interface with all of the marketing and brand tools and retail tools that we offer as well with Higher Origins. Like that's our pitch. That's our strong arm. And if they say, well, I don't really like that one, and then we'll be like, all right, cool. Next shelf item, we notice that you have a bunch of like Kush style stuff here in the $30 range. Well, here's 4 farms that do that. Why not these? Okay, not that. Here's a bunch of like ice cream cakes. Here's 6 farms that do that. Why not those? So the whole idea is like if you can get enough SKUs on a platform with a good way for it to be purchased and ordered through and like a consistent ordering experience, basically you have a lot of leverage on retailers. And I'm not saying this in like a aggressive way towards retailers, but I'm basically just saying like if you get all these farms together, you have a portfolio that can fit many different needs. And if a retailer just completely dismisses that out of hand just because it's from small farms, they're really doing themselves and their customers a disservice. Even if they're only buying one or two things off Higher Origins, I think it's a benefit to them. So that's my pitch.
And I think like ultimately we need to grow the category of like small farm product on the shelves, organic, OCal, DEM certified, the list goes on. Um, if we're able to expand that category, then we get consumers that are, just even a percentage point higher likely to get that product through whatever means, even if it ends up being like, a random promo that they, retailer does because of whatever. And if they come back and they want another small farm product, and then they start like learning a little bit more about terpenes because they're kind of getting into the more unique and niche side of cannabis, and then suddenly it's like a whole world opens up to them where now it's not just indica sativa hybrid, it's like you're sitting there peeping primary, secondary, and tertiary terps. So I think it's like we're trying to like build that pipeline to where like, okay, how do you get small farm products and move it through so that consumers can actually like learn about it, find it, and yeah, like you need the tools like weed maps. It's hard to find small farms on weed maps because their whole business model like relies on like a bidding marketplace, from my understanding, where you're just like sitting there competing for how much money you can blow, to be number one.
Yeah, Weed Maps is always just the past couple of years. Like, I mean, to be fair, I have kind of an arm's length relationship with it because we're, on the supply side of the industry, not the retail side. But even when I have been using it to find a place to buy weed, it just seems so kind of hollow. Like, there's not much to it. Everything is out of date. Just because it says that something is available somewhere doesn't mean it actually will be. I'll go there and they said, oh, we sold out of that like a month ago. And I'm like, well, why did I even come here? Like, it just seems to be kind of I'm maybe kind of like a zombie platform to me at the moment. It doesn't seem to be really innovating.
Which, I mean, that's probably largely because retailers started getting more wise to actually providing their own online menus instead of using weed maps. Because
There
it's
are
like,
alternatives, yeah, definitely. Anyway, well, that's enough for sidetracks and 2025. It's 2026 now. Uh, Basically, what we were just talking about, our main goal this year is to sell everybody's weed as much as possible. Get as many farms, retailers, distributors, uh, like-minded people on the platform, and move those eighths, move those pounds, move those pre-rolls. And so that's going to involve a lot of marketing. If you're an operator in California, you will probably be hearing from us. It's going to involve a lot of hitting the road, hitting the sidewalks, walking into retailers. If you're a retailer and you're listening to this podcast or watching it, expect to see us walk through your door sometime this year. We don't bite, I promise. And yeah, that's it. Tell people to help people on board, help people get menus set up, get products listed, get the number of SKUs up so we have a more impressive portfolio that we can use to take into retailers, as I said. Push, 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 sell, sell, sell. Like, we've got the infrastructure is 95% built. Matt, you were saying earlier that a lot of the stuff now, it just feels like you're kind of putting the polish on front end stuff because most of the bones of the system have been built out and finalized. So it's mostly polish, refinement based upon feedback or the use cases of the users and the customers, and using those tools now that we've built them. So that's the short answer for 2026. I've got some weed to sell you, basically.
I mean, and one way that we're going to try to sell that weed is through Higher Origins brand.
Right.
So the whole concept of that is to kind of, you know, do what we say, do what we've been preaching, self-branding more or less.
Right.
But we're going to be doing it in such a way to where we auto-generate the label, so it's very farm first forward. So we actually use the pages that are that you can go into Higher Origins. You can create a page, all free by the way. Upload your logo, header file, all of that. So we use that information to generate a label that actually features the farm. We standardize around QR codes, information present. We have our whole little color system for terpenes because we want to be very terpene first and all of that. But yeah, just an easy way to generate a label, slap it on a Mylar, and we plan on working with probably initially about 5 farms to kind of feel out the project, make sure that the splits are, everyone thinks that it's a working system.
Yeah, this the point is to help farms make money. So as we launch this brand, like I said, like Matt said, it's going to be in collaboration with farms. Like if the money has to make sense for the farms for them to do this. We're not. I know there's lots of brands out there. We support small farms and big distros, and it's like whatever. Like if we have to take, if it makes the most sense for farms to get involved, where we're only taking 2 or 3%, so be it. We need to help them get into the market, and a lot of people are not equipped, uh, time, knowledge, effort, funds wise to self brand. But if they can list their product on Higher Origins and connect it with a distributor, a manufacturer that we work with, we can basically get the product packaged in a Mylar with a standardized sticker with their name and their image and their logo. And if there's room on the label, maybe a little blurb about their farm with the QR code that goes to all of our web tools. Get that into a retailer. The retailer gets all the additional benefits that we're building out to help them. And this can be on menus, which we will push every time we go into a store. So basically, we're building out the entire infrastructure for a small farm to get into retail if they haven't already. So that's the point of Higher Origins brand. We're working on it. 2-3 months, something like that. The time frame is a little flexible, but it's coming up. We're getting that in motion. So that's going to be a huge deal this year.
I feel like it'd probably be closer to 2-3 weeks as our first delivery. Like we already have
Okay.
an order, so.
That's okay. Well, I stand corrected then. Look out for Higher Origins product in a store near you. So, in addition to the brand, you also have a bunch more little features and stuff you're planning on. I know you mentioned map stuff that you're going to be doing stuff with. The Terpene Association tool, or whatever that was we talked about briefly.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of what I features that I want to work on and do and actually build out, more on the app side, probably more tools like filtering, searching, things like that around Marketplace. I'll probably end up doing another refinement on the menu system here shortly. And then in terms of the Terp Association, because right now how Higher Origins is set up, when you create a product, especially if it's a product that's for retail, it requires the certificate of analysis to be uploaded and the values to be associated. So if the farm got a terpene profile, that's likely in Higher Origins, so that then I can actually go through and a lot of this is stemmed off of, there's an Instagram post where they were going through that and they were talking about how Indica Sativa hybrid were not reliable, when they put the genomes or whatever into a system, they didn't find any clustering that would indicate an Indica Sativa hybrid. But they did find that, if I remember correctly, it was 9 or something primary terpenes that cannabis kind of grouped around, and it's you're able to see for example, I think they mentioned terpinolene is a high indicator for a sativa. So we're kind of aligning definitions based off of terpene profiles, so you're able to kind of more accurately gauge that for customers. but I could easily like make it a view on product search for customers because there is so much unique individuality for farms, where like we grow a strain called Jack Mormon. It's kind of a spin-off of a Jack Herrera. It's not a Jack Herrera cross, but the terpene profiles are similar. So
Right.
if you were a person that was familiar with Jack Herrera and you wanted a similar strain to Jack Herrera, you would have to know to look up Jack Mormon, or maybe like obviously add in like a search tool for searching by terpene, so you can actually find those. But I was thinking, and it's based on the Associated Owners graph view that I've worked on previously, that then would basically allow basically grouping and sorting products based on their primary, secondary, and tertiary terpenes,
Okay.
so that a customer could, for example, be like, well, okay, here's Jack Herrera. They go to it, they scroll down, and then it shows like the product graph, and then it shows products that are close to it based on the terpene values. So to hopefully allow for like a more visual way for discovery.
Right. So it's basically just like it's a matching engine. This weed is similar in terpene content to this weed, and you can shop based off of that.
Because I do think that there is a lot lost in terms of like, people don't necessarily know a strain name, and it's hard, especially in the license industry, because so many people are either going with their own names, or some go with like brand names, some are like based off a nursery, like
Product names are all made up. It's marketing.
true. And
Yeah.
I mean, whenever you look in the metric too, and you see a pre-roll that's sourcing like 300 harvests, like what does it matter anyway?
Oh gosh. Yeah. So, okay. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, that would be like a close, like really fun one that we're adding. Um, if I'm forgetting anything that I've mentioned in like the last 30 days, that's probably being added. It's just like I've picked up a shiny rock too many times, so we gotta like go through another cycle before I'm back there.
Yeah. But basically, anybody listening, rest assured, Matt is always hitting me up with, "Oh, look at this cool new thing." So, development is ongoing, refinement is ongoing, new ideas are happening. So, expect
Yeah,
more of
and a
that.
lot of it's development based on need. Like we're like as Mendo Mystic, we're starting to actually like develop a little bit more. Like okay, what sales paths do we want to be in? Okay, where do we want to be in the Bay Area? And then actually like okay, now we have to call these people, and you're doing research on Google, and sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. It's nice to have a visual map that you can just go scroll, see a marker on the map, go, oh, okay, it's there. I don't want to work with Stizzy, hide it, view the license, see associated licenses, see that they have cultivation, and then go, that they're not worth our time, hide them. So you're able to kind of just narrow down our base. Like I went through every license in the state, and I think I have a list of like 540 total licenses that I'm like, okay, I think they're reasonable to work with. So
Okay. So, basically, being able to categorize potential retail partners by different qualities that you think may make them a better or a worse retail partner.
that was just me going through and just hiding, because when you hide the markers on the map, they're like slightly transparent and they're grayed out.
Okay.
So they're harder to see. So when you like zoom out and zoom around, the blue ones are always on top and most visible. So that ended up being just like a really fun feature. That was an added bonus because I added in the retail maps, which basically any product that is like an order is made on Higher Origins, if that product was delivered and there is a page for that retailer, what will happen is on that product page, public will show the map, and then it'll show all the retailers that product can be purchased at within California. So
Right.
it allows for a brand sided way to say like, hey customers, here's where we've delivered, here's the last time we delivered. So if there is someone looking for, our Any Weather joint from the 12 J's of Christmas box, they want to get more. They just go to the Any Weather 1 gram pre-roll, on Higher Origins, and bam, like they can see those like 4 or 5 locations we've delivered, that pre-roll to. So it's just a nice way. It's added
Yeah.
feature for consumers.
And the consumer discovery is important. Like even if they're not necessarily coming from a strain that they already know about, even if they're just coming in cold and read an article like, hey, one of you lucky farms listening who asks us to do an interview and we write an article, and you've already done some orders through Higher Origins. Somebody comes in from the internet, reads that article, goes to your profile page, and it says, look, their product has been delivered to these dispensaries. Oh, hey, look, it's just 10-minute drive away. I'm gonna go smoke that. So like this is how it all comes together.
Yep, and like added like that just reminded me of a feature that I want to work in for 2026 and like really soon. And there's already a version of it that exists within platform. It's just it hasn't been touched in a very long time and it's like kind of an old way of how I did things, and it's not really it functions. It's just not ideal. It's a newsletter mailing list system that would more like the implementation that I'm working on adding is a more dynamic way that would allow for more like customizability in terms of like what emails went out to consumers. But in its current system, like anyone can go to a Higher Origins product page, brand page, and they can put in their email address and their postal code, and that will sign them up to get updates whenever that product is delivered near them. Because I've gone through and I've associated like all the postal codes to all the counties to like got a database of all that stuff, so we're able to like accurately like subscribe people to eventually it'll probably be categories, so they can go and follow OCal product and whatnot. So if you are someone that wants to support OCal and wants to support organic cultivation, you can actually go and seek out those products and be notified when those products are available. That data is also going to be used on the other half, where if we see someone that goes, hey, I want your product, we know it's not near them, it's like maybe in a couple of retailers up north, and they're like the one retailer or one customer down in LA. We've had success where we've like found people online that are like, hey, I shop at these dispensaries, and we go to the dispensaries and we go, hey, someone from online told us that they shop here and they wanted Mendo Mystic, and they put in a small order. And it's like a small order is all that, like, that's all you need to start out with.
Like a lot of retailers don't know, like there's just a lack of information about what customers want. Really, I mean, retailers a lot of them will just buy from the standard menu of a couple big brands and stock their shelves that way. And people come in and say, okay, whatever, sure, that'll do the job. But like for anything that's like more specialty, if someone comes in and asks and says, hey, you're the place I have to buy this from, so you better get it in stock, that's a really, really powerful driver to order. So we're trying to make that happen and make that pathway as short as possible for recommendations to retail. Yeah, that's really cool.
And then that kind of ties into we're currently working with a retailer right now to do farmers markets.
Okay,
Like
yeah,
a more regular farmers market, and I believe any other retailers that put on farmers market, they would participate just as a no-brainer. But that goes into I want to set up like event pages on Higher Origins, so retailers, licenses, they can list events that shows up under their page. If they have followers, that event's within whatever radius of, okay, they get an email blast saying, hey, this farm's going to be at this event. Like really try to do a lot of the legwork and for like getting consumers excited for small farms, because like
Yeah.
half the time we don't even run our Instagrams well enough to let customers know on there when we do deliveries to retailers. So the more we can automate that and get that process to where they just, as soon as we mark delivered, get an email on their phone and they're able to go to their, retailer and say, hey, I saw you got a delivery of XYZ. And, the dude has to go and inventory it really quick because, like, you're that on Johnny on the spot. Like, that leaves impressions on retailers. So we want to, really, like, drive home and, like, go after that whole aspect of, how we want to operate. Because if you run farmers markets, too, and we're able to get customers there, you're interacting with customers. It's a great opportunity to ask for their email address, ask for any of this information that would then allow for, better follow-ups and more engagement with that direct customer.
And it's education for the retailer. I mean, if you are a retailer and Higher Origins hits you up and says, hey, we want to do a farmer's market, and you say, okay, and, we show up with 5 farms you've never heard of who have really good weed, and you as a retailer watch those farmers interact with your customers, and you notice that 3 of them are getting a hell of a lot of sales and 2 of them maybe not so much. Maybe they grow something that your clientele just really isn't into. That's really good intel for you. And boom, you can order from those 3 and maybe specialize other things that are related to it. So that's like, you can do live, basically it's good for consumers to be able to find good weed, and it's good for farms to be able to, like, sell their weed, but it's also good for retailers because it's a live A/B test in their store.
No, absolutely. And especially like as Higher Origins, if we're, helping, kind of orchestrate a lot of that information around, how I guess like the consumer to farm sale pipeline works, I think the more we can like narrow in on a system it's beneficial for everyone. And you start leading consumers to be a little bit more excited about buying weed again, because it's almost unfortunate the amount of people that go into a dispensary and they just buy the same thing over and over again.
Buying weed kind of sucks these days, honestly, man. Like, even in, like, having gone to so many dispensaries now, like, you go in and some of them have really nice, interesting spaces. Some of them are like art shows or have cool skateboards on the walls, or some of them are like really cool spaces that people, and other ones almost feel like an Apple store. And or some are busy and you just got to wait in line. And by the time you finally actually get to ask somebody about your weed, you're just like, I just want to get baked. Like, give me a damn eighth. Like, get me out of here. Like, I don't want to sit around and yap. Or like, you ask them a question and they're like, "That's a great question. I'll be right back." And then have to go poke around in the POS for 5 minutes. And then they're like, "We don't have that." And you're like, "Well, I could have just bought something and been on my way." So, I, we want to, like, retail is, there's potential there. Not hating on retail, but like, there are things that I think would benefit both consumers and retailers that we're working on. So yeah.
No, we definitely wanna, try to close the loop and actually like allow customers to be educated about the product that they're consuming and then be able to actually discover adjacent product or product from the region, that farm's in, and actually, broaden their knowledge and their search for everything.
Absolutely. Well, I'm very, very excited for 2026. It seems like the momentum is just building. And if you're listening to this, if you are a retailer, if you are a licensed operator, hit us up. We'll probably hit you up at some point, but hit us up. Check out higherorigins.com. Log in. It's free. It's easy to sign up. You can get a menu going in a few minutes, get some products listed. Try it. If you like it, by all means, we're glad. If you don't like it, let us know what's wrong with it. We'll fix it. You're looking at Higher Origins. It's us 2 guys. Like, you don't have to go through a whole line of people to get to us. So we want to collaborate. We want to work with you. We want as many brands to post as much product so we can go into as many retailers and show them as many cool SKUs so they can run out of excuses and start buying from us. That's the goal for this year.
No, I think, you summed it up pretty much right where we're at. I mean, sell, get small farmers to market. Let's, grow the category as a whole and, make 2027 even better.
Hell yeah. Well, on that note, I think we'll sign off, but thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
See ya.